At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
And I know it's been weird weather. I keep track of stuff because, I'm the admin of a Facebook group called Mississippi Gardeners. We got 66,000 members, and they all brag about what's going on good, and they all complain about what's doing and what's up with this. But we've been getting a good bit of rain. Folks in South Mississippi have been hammered. Java, you've been keeping up with all this, haven't you?
Yeah, and our news team has been reporting on it as well. The southern coastal, oh man, I had the three counties like on the top of my tongue, but that just the Gulf Coast got slammed yesterday. That's still under flood watch. So just people need to really be careful. The old adage of turn around and don't drown if you see some pooled up water, because it's kind of serious, especially on the Gulf Coast.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, it's been making the news over here in England. Even though we're live from Mississippi Public Broadcasting, but I'm in my summer home in England right now, and it just just as soon as you hang your clothes out to dry, it rains. You got to go and bring stuff back in. But it's been nice and cool over here, Job. A little bit of misty rain, but for the most part, haven't been suffering like you have in Mississippi. I checked with my daughter to make sure everything in my garden is okay. And she said she can't even get to the garden. It's been raining so much. So how are you and the kids doing?
Yeah, we're doing fine, man. It's mushy in the backyard, but we've been pulling off some red tomatoes the past couple days. So it's a
red
thing.
Tomatoes.
Yeah, we got a bunch of green ones too. Not ready to pull, but we've been taking some of the red tomatoes off and putting them in salads and stuff like that.
Well, last week somebody had called. They wanted to know about can we grow English cucumbers? I don't know if you remember that because it's just an oddball thing. And I was familiar with the English cucumbers, but I really wasn't sure because I've never grown them. I don't know. And I come to find out I eat them all the time in England. But I did a little research, Job, because I'm curious just like anybody else. And, let me see. I got a thing here. I like to eat pickles. I'm a pickle guy. We talked about that. These are slicing type of pickles. They're the typical ones that we find in Mississippi. And there's two kinds we grow. We go slicing cucumbers, which we grow. You peel them, you slice them, we got seeds in them. And then we got pickling kinds that have a little bit thinner skin, and you can turn them into pickles whole and all. But turns out there's a third kind, and it's really probably one of the most popular in the world. And I just happen to have one. You ready for this, Java?
Show it to me.
It's an English cucumber.
That is a big cucumber.
Yeah, it's about a foot long. A lot longer than our cucumbers, and not a whole lot bigger around. But instead of having the little, a cucumber, they get little bumps, kind of little spiny little bumps on them. Well, these are smooth skin, and they got these long ridges that run. So it almost looks like a zucchini or something. Anyway, it's a long, skinny cucumber, and it's bred to be more edible. The skin is real thin. Matter of fact, I took some notes. Let me see if I can find my notes on this because I just couldn't help myself on that. Nope, that's World Cup notes.
You've been keeping up with the World Cup, man?
I'm just there to remember from my notes. They're longer, they're thinner. They got a real thin skin. And they don't have big seeds. A lot of cucumbers got a seed like a watermelon. These have very, very small, sometimes they're not even formed, but they're almost seedless, really small seeds. And so you don't have to peel them, you don't have to de-seed them, and you can slice them. And get this, Java, they're not bitter, because the bitter comes from the seeds in the skin, and they're a little bit sweeter. So anyway, they're long in skin. I cut one open. Again, this is just a picture. Can you see this okay?
A little bit. It's kind of white, so it's real bright. Yeah.
There we go. Here we go. There we go. How about that?
There it is. There we go. Good one. Good job, Felder.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of seeds in them. Real thin skin. You can just slice them and eat them. But if you ever had a cucumber sandwich and you didn't get burks later, didn't have to spit seeds out, that's an English cucumber. Anyway, bottom line is they grow okay in Mississippi. They don't really like hot weather, but they're grown in greenhouses a lot. And when you get them from the store, Java, you can tell one at the store, because they're always shrink wrapped in like plastic, because if their skin is so thin, they're easy to bruise, and it just keeps them fresher longer. So if you go to a grocery store and got these long skinny things that look sort of like a dirigible, like a blimp, but long cucumber looking thing that's wrapped in plastic, that's an English cucumber. I also call burpless cucumbers and European cucumbers. So anyway, somebody asked about that. I sort of knew about it. Now ask me anything about them, except where do you buy seeds for seedless cucumbers?
Is that a riddle? Is that a pun?
No. I mean, they're nearly seedless, just like seedless watermelon. You can buy seed to plant for seedless watermelon. Ever wonder where they come from?
The laboratory.
Well, I don't want to get too much detail because it involves a lot of weird stuff, but it's sort of like a mule. Mules don't just happen. Mules are crossed between a donkey and a horse, and they're sterile. Mules can't make mules. So if you want a new mule, you got to start over from scratch. That's how they get seed for seedless watermelon. They cross different different kinds, and the seeds for those will produce watermelons that won't have seeds. Anyway, you can buy seeds for English cucumbers. You want to give them a try. I'd be curious if any of our listeners have grown them and whether they grow okay. How do you like them? How do they do in our heat? I just have zero personal experience about it. And I can't find any information in Mississippi or Alabama or Georgia that specifically says how do you grow these English type cucumbers in the South. So we need some citizen scientists out there to let us know how it does for them.
Well, maybe we'll get some help on the phone calls or through the YouTube. But we do have an early caller on the line, Felder, if you want to go ahead and get to him.
Okay, you bet. Hey, that's what we're here for.
Well, let's talk to Jim in Jackson. Good morning, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
Good morning, Java. Good morning, Felder. Jim Rosenblatt here.
Good morning.
I have a fire pit in the backyard, and I burned some yard waste and some limbs, and I've now got a bucket of ashes from that fire pit. What use can I make of those ashes in gardening?
Well, first of all, they do have some nutrients. They got potassium and some micronutrients, so they're useful in the garden. So you can spread them out. The real drawback is they're highly water soluble. They're extremely alkaline. So if you pile them up, they can temporarily almost sterilize your soil temporarily. So instead of piling them anywhere, spread them out. You can spread them over the grass. You can spread them around your shrubs. The only plants that would not, and you can do this 2 or 3 times a year because they wash away after a few rains. I would not put them around blueberries or azaleas or camellias, any of the plants that we know really like an acidic soil. But as long as you spread them thinly, you can put them in the same place 2 or 3 times a year. Not a big deal at all. And actually kind of beneficial.
So they wouldn't be good for tomatoes then?
Well, they would be, but again, they're really highly alkaline, so really you want to use them. You don't really want to use them per se. You want to get rid of them. And let's just say you can get rid of them, even though they're not all that useful in the garden. It's perfectly okay to scatter them in the yard. And they do have minor benefits, but it's sort of like using banana peels or something like that. It's a good idea, but really not that big a deal to the plants. So just toss them here and there.
Is there any benefit of using cracked eggshells in the garden?
Yeah, crack. If you take the eggshells, and I do this, Jim, a lot of people, there's so many myths out there. As a matter of fact, while we're talking Java, if you could get them to put picture number 8 up. I sent some pictures, and if you're on live stream, you can see this. If you're not on live stream, check it out sometime. Go to mpbonline.org and fumble around for radio and Gestalt Gardener, or go to YouTube and in the search box put Gestalt Gardener, and you can see these pictures anytime. You can do it 3 weeks from now if you want to. But this picture is of a rose, and I got banana peels and eggshells around them because I just read a magazine article about this. It's a real good idea, Jim, because eggshells got calcium, banana peels have got potassium, coffee grounds got nitrogen. All these home remedies, they do have a germ of truth, but the problem is there's such small amount in there. It's not really worth using them for specific things. It'd be better to crumple them up and scatter them, or put them in a compost and let them decompose and just use a compost which has everything in it. But using eggshells by themselves, Jim, you can put an eggshell out in your garden, and we can come back 25 years from now and dig it up, and it's going to be still an eggshell because it's calcium carbonate, which won't break down naturally. It has to be broken down by acids, soil acids, or you can break them up and fizz them with a little bit of vinegar. Just pour a little vinegar, which is a natural acetic acid, and it'll fizz, and it'll convert it to a calcium your plants can use. But as far as just putting eggshells around plants, banana peels around plants, coffee grounds, really more of a myth than anything.
On a previous show, you had mentioned that natural rainwater was better for irrigating plants than city water. And I've been saving it in the last week. I've got about 6 tubs filled up with water from all the rain. So it's going to last me a few weeks now.
Yeah, it can go bad. The water can go bad if it can go stagnant. So if you got leaves and stuff like, and dust and stuff like that, you might want to use it pretty much as quickly as you can. And rainwater is not better for plants because it's rainwater, but city water's got extra stuff in it, and it's been deionized, all sorts of stuff's been done to it. So rainwater is more or less the pure stuff.
Well, thanks very much, Felder, and I hope, please tell the Queen hello for me.
Well, okay, I appreciate that. I'm assuming you're talking about my Susan.
No, I'm talking about the Queen of England.
Yeah, well, see, we got a king now. Oh, no, you're right. We do have a queen. I keep forgetting. The king's wife is a queen. Next time I see him, I'll say, hey.
All right, tell Susan hello, too.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, but it's really interesting you ask about the eggshells and stuff, because there's a lot of garden myths out there, and I address these all the time. It's not just me. If you hear something that sounds like a good idea, using Epsom salts or banana peels or eggshells or grits for fire ants, all those kind of things, instead of going online to search how do banana peels benefit plants, do this, banana peels and plants, and then put the word myth, M-Y-T-H. There are a whole bunch of scientists out there, real gardeners who happen to be horticulturists, and we research this stuff. And as far as the banana peels, for example, they're really, really high in potassium, around 10 or 11%. But when they're dried and it's broken down by soil and can be used by plants, it ends up being less than 1%. So that's not very much. As far as making banana peel tea and all these kind of teas and stuff, it's a good idea. Doesn't have much of an effect. Do it if you want to, doesn't hurt. But to swear by it, you're just having to make that stuff up, because Epsom salts don't do nothing except maybe green plants up a little bit greener, and that's about it. Anyway, that's my job, is to be honest about stuff.
Yeah, but my question always is, how these myths got started in the first place.
That's a really good idea. I give a classic example. Everybody swears by marigolds repel insects. That is a standard thing. You do marigolds in the garden, and there are hundreds of articles where people swear by marigolds to prevent or deter insects in the garden. It started out by some scientists who found out that if you grow marigolds in a certain soil and the next year turn them into the soil, then they will repel nematodes, which are little microscopic root-feeding worms. Marigolds tilled in the ground will repel nematodes, can actually kill them. But that became marigolds are good for the garden, which also became this. And when people say marigolds repel insects, Java, there are 18 insects that I can name that feed on marigolds. Butterflies get pollen and nectar from marigolds, and butterflies visit them, and other insects feed on them. Where do people get the idea it's going to keep bugs out of your garden? They don't. They simply don't. But it's a myth that everybody's going to want to argue with me about. I'm not going to argue. Look it up. Go marigolds in the garden -myth, and you'll get to the real reasons, the pros and cons of doing these. Does it hurt to plant marigolds? Nope, not at all. They're pretty plants. Are there some marigolds better than others? Your call. But do they repel insects? Nope, they don't. They don't. Sorry, they don't.
Well, as we get ready to go to this break, I'll tell you a little secret. Well, you probably already know. Crystal has marigolds in the garden.
Yeah, and you know what? And ain't they pretty?
There you go.
Matter of fact, when we get back, there's a real big pest that we see in a lot of gardens this time of year, specifically on tomatoes. And when we come back from that, I'm going to show how you can find these in the dark better than you can in the daytime. It's called tomato hornworm. Some of you already know this, but it's a surprising thing. And if you're not on YouTube, check it out some. Just make a note to go to YouTube and type in Gestalt Gardener, and then you can see these pictures yourself. Anyway, me and Java and all the other folks, I guess we got John C., we got Abram, they are our producers today.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're going to come back with more of the Gestalt Gardener, and your phone calls is toll-free right after this.
Support for MPB comes from the
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Hatred destroys the one who hates. The others that you hated, go on about their business, care of us.
So the legacy of Medgar Evers is an understanding of our own humanity and of our own responsibility of seeing that in other people.
He is written out of history. He's just not included as Malcolm and Martin. To me, it's the 3 M's, and Medgar's right up there at the lead.
Everlasting, Life and Legacy of Medgar Evers. Watch now on MPB Passport. Visit mpbonline.org for more.
Job, I'm eating one of these English cucumbers. I got to tell you, they don't go really well. Cucumbers and coffee do not go well together.
That should be like a song, Cucumbers and Coffee.
Yeah, it could be a cheesy tune. And we've got a good cheesy tune coming in a minute, but I want to mention this. Do we have any calls right now?
Not right now, and we got intern Francis back there patiently waiting everyone's call. So y'all be nice and let us help you with your gardening today.
That's right. It's toll free 1-877 MPB Glad to chat with you. I know you got some stuff on your mind. If nothing else, how is this rain affecting my plants? Because it is affecting the plants.
Well, I do have to say, we got a YouTube chat, and Sal. This may amaze you, Felder. Sal says Pearl River. These are the two counties. Pearl River County, Hancock County got hit really hard, and 23 inches in their yard since Monday.
23 inches. You know, that's inconceivable. I was just less than a month ago, I was out in California, Southern California, and they average 10 inches a year if they're lucky. Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank goodness for container. You know, I grow my vegetables and herbs in large containers and raised beds, which on one hand means they have to be watered a time or two. if you grow plants that need to be watered. But on the other hand, when it rains, the extra stuff just runs right on out. So there's some benefits to that. When it comes to raised beds, matter of fact, I recommend, Java, that people don't just put them on top of the ground. That's not a raised bed. That's a big old rectangular container. What I recommend is dig down into your dirt, maybe a shovel deep. It'll half kill you at first, but do it once. Then mix stuff with it, and then mix more stuff until it's partly sunk and partly raised. That way, during the rain spells, the partly raised bit will help the plant survive too much water. But being sunk a little bit during dry spells, you won't have to water as much. But anyway, we've been getting a lot of emails and people on the YouTube, on Facebook, talking about tomato hornworms. And Java, if you're not familiar, let's put up picture number 6. This is a moth that flies around at night. It's a big moth. It's huge, matter of fact. And it's a type of sphinx moth, SPHINX moth. It's huge. They're pretty. They're extremely important food for bats. They're just real important food. But when they lay eggs on tomatoes, those eggs hatch out into little caterpillars that have a little horn on the end. Looks like a stinger, but it's not a stinger. They're just called hornworms. And they can grow up to be as long as my index finger or bigger, Java. They're huge worms. And they can completely strip a tomato plant overnight. Problem is trying to find them. They're the same color as tomatoes, and it's just really hard to find them. If you look, you'll see them, but you will always miss some. So here's a really weird trick. And I forget who came with it. Some guy back in the 1970s came up with this. But you can go to a hardware store or any place, and you can get a black light flashlight, old-fashioned black light, kind of shine, your teeth shine, everything that's white just really shines.
Yeah.
You can take a black light flashlight in the garden. Let's put up picture number 5. And at the top of it is a hornworm in the daytime. And the bottom part of the picture is a hornworm that glows like this with a black light in the garden. It looks extraterrestrial.
It does look kind of fun housey or spacey.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of freaky.
Yeah, there's a few insects that scorpions will glow under dark. And believe it or not, we have native scorpions, just nobody ever sees them. But anyway, if you have hornworms, if you get a black light flashlight, it's kind of fun. This is a great thing if you got kids. Matter of fact, you can plant tomatoes and hope to get hornworms because there's a real good lesson about butterflies and moths and the eggs and larvae and cocoon and all that kind of stuff. But they can go out at night with the black light and find even the real small ones that just glow like this. So if you've had trouble with tomato hornworms, want to find them, get your black light flashlight and have fun. By the way, there's not much practical you can do about them, Java. They're so big. By the time we see them, they've already done most of their damage. You can pick them off and just simply toss them. They don't sting, they don't bite, they're just caterpillars. But if you'll toss them out in the yard, there's all sorts of stuff that just loves to eat them. Big old sacks of protein. So you don't have to squish them and throw them away. Just throw them out in the yard, let the birds have them. But as far as trying to use some kind of poison, it takes a lot of poison to kill a big insect. Even natural insecticides, it takes a lot. So if you want to use something, I would go with this stuff they call, it's a bacteria that only kills the larvae of moths and butterflies. It's sold under different brand names. It's called BT for Bacillus thuringiensis. But BT is sold as a liquid, it's sold as a dust. You put it on your plants and it'll stay out there till a good rain. But any caterpillar that bites into it, they almost immediately stop feeding. That way, if when they fall and drop off, a bird that eats it won't be poisoned. But BT, the biological worm control, it works really, really well. But sort of just plucking them and throwing them out in the yard, or I'd say go fishing with them, but I don't think anybody's got a hook that big. So anyway, I just want to throw that out because it's an oddball little thing.
Okay, well, now this question from the YouTube kind of goes along with that a little bit. This is Pamela, who's checking in from Harleston, always active in the YouTube chat. But she has a question and says, can I use the water that has a couple of teaspoons of apple cider vinegar in it that I use to wash my produce? Is it okay to water my hydrangeas, azaleas, and hostas?
Oh yeah. For the most part, it takes you can use vinegar as a weed killer. It doesn't kill weeds; it just burns them back. But it'd be diluted so much, I would not worry about it at all. Vinegar shouldn't hurt plants unless you use it really pretty strong. Not a problem at all.
And it's good to hear she used that apple cider vinegar to wash your produce, because the stuff that you get from the grocery store, you gotta wash it off. You gotta wash it off.
Yeah, you sound like the voice of experience, or else Crystal's been training you well.
Yeah, I mean, we get when we get big produce, big grocery bag days. Yeah, we have big bowls of washing stuff out, and it's amazing what comes out of those washes. You know what I mean?
Yep. Hey, by the way, Job, I want to mention this. I should have brought some pictures of it, but I try not to show too many pictures that aren't related to Mississippi that I've seen over in England. But last weekend, Susan and I went to a tour of private gardens over in Liverpool. We don't live very far from Liverpool. We take the train. Last time we get to poke around little tiny private backyard gardens, not big show gardens, but where real gardeners do their best for themselves. In the alleyways, the long, skinny alleys between houses, they got walls. They have little long, skinny gardens, and they're like a community back behind these houses. Anyway, last time I did it was back way before COVID. I don't even remember how long ago that was. But this past Sunday, when we were walking through one of these gardens, one of the gardeners recognized me from the last time we chatted. We're talking about years ago. She came and she said, "Are you Felder?" And she said, everybody said, "This is the Gestalt Gardener."
And you had to run out before they were chasing you for autographs.
Yeah, right. Well, that didn't happen, But anyway, it was on one hand, I really don't buy into all this kind of stuff. Look at me, Java. You see, I can't. I don't fix up. I don't put on airs. But it was kind of nice being recognized in Liverpool. I like that.
Oh, yeah. It's always good when somebody recognizes you, especially for the right reasons.
Well, last fall, I was down, and Susan and I went down to a plant swap in Mobile, but we stayed overnight in Ocean Springs. We were walking down the street, and a guy who worked in the kitchen was out taking some stuff out to the trash. He said, "Hey, you're the radio truck guy." Okay, I'm the radio truck guy. That works too.
Say, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm hoping folks give us a call, because I know there's a whole lot of stuff going on out there that is on people's minds. Not much we can do about it except talk about it. And I'm here to talk with you about it. So give us a call. It's toll free 1-877-MPB-RING.
Well, in the meantime, Felder, let's go ahead and take because we're about the 30-minute mark of the hour. Let's take our second break and get into this cheesy tune you sent.
Okay, well, I'll start out by having to put up picture number 7 of my MPB rain gauge. I mean, I got an MPB rain gauge years ago, and I put it out in my yard. I don't care what the weatherman says. I want to know what it did in my garden. So I go out there, I see things, I hear things, I touch things, I feel things, but I get to see myself intellectually, how much did it rain? And so I chose this tune. It's an old Ink Spot tune called "Into Every Life Some Rain Must Fall," but too much is falling in mine. I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing. Me and Java Chapman and the other folks at MPB, we're glad you joined us. Give us a call. We got the lines wide open, and we'll be back with more of the Gestalt Gardener here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting right after this.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission.
All right, folks, welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, and I can see now why I prefer pickles over cucumbers. Cucumbers are just okay, but my pickles have got vinegar, they've got salt and sugar and mustard seeds and all sorts of just good stuff that makes them taste a little bit better, I guess. Anyway, we're here to take calls from folks about their gardens. Let's start out in Jackson with Gene. Gene, thanks for calling. What's up?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Concerning the English cucumbers, I've had very good success with the cucumbers. I've had some as long as 18 inches long.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did they grow like regular cucumbers? You have to trellis them and all that, right?
Grew them by mistake. My wife bought the seeds. She thought they were going to be the regular pickling kind, and we ended up with these. And I got to build these trellises so they can grow. Okay, and so we've had success, and then she was very pleased with the English cucumbers to mix with the squash as she cooked. Yeah. But here's my question. My question is dealing with collard greens.
Yeah.
I'm having a problem with these white flies and the worms.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, I've heard you say there's no need in trying to put dust on because covering the top does not do any good when they eat the bottom. What can I use on the bottom?
Well, this is an oddball thing, but used to be they had dust guns. You might be not old enough to remember. We used to get this stuff and have a plunger, and you put dust out. Dust were made to be applied with a dust gun on the underside of leaves. And you can't do that from a shaker can. So you're almost always going to be better off using a liquid. Whatever you get in a dust, you can also get in a liquid. Two things to keep in mind. If you'll mix it just according to directions and put a little bit of dish detergent, just a little bit, not even a teaspoon per gallon. This will help the stuff spread out and stick on those slick leaves a lot better. A lot of leaves are real slick or they're hairy like the undersides of azaleas. But a little bit of dish detergent will help it spread out and stick on better. And also keep in mind, if you mix up these insecticides, don't save any for next week. Use up whatever you mix, use it, because as soon as you mix with water, they start to break down. They don't last 2-3 weeks in a container. So use fresh stuff, spray the other side of the leaves, a little bit of dish detergent, that helps. Now, let me give you a real quick tip, though. The things that will control white flies, things like insecticidal soap, they really do well. But you have to put them on just about every week for 2 or 3 weeks to get the worst of them, because you can kill a bunch today, but some are going to hatch out from eggs tomorrow, and they're going to be laying eggs in 2 weeks. So you got to spray at least 2 or 3 times a week or so apart to sort of break it up, and then just live with a few. In the long run, I really think that your best bet for the worms on your collards is to go ahead and invest in some insect netting. Put some little bamboo sticks out there, put a little bottle on the top so it doesn't tear your net, and just drape this netting over them. That's what they do all over the world. Japan, England, everywhere I go, they use insect netting, except Mississippi, because we think it's better just to live with the holes or spray a bunch of poisons. But you can use insect netting over and over and over for years, and it really does a good job on keeping caterpillars off plants. Really does.
Okay. I thank you for giving me that answer. it seemed like I would do better. It just has to be. I love growing collards because I could go to the store and get them a lot cheaper than all of that. But
let me ask you this: have you ever tried, Gene? Have you ever tried growing kale?
No, other than just the ones that I have flowers.
Okay.
Yeah.
This next fall, when you get ready to plant some collards, see if you can find the kale. It's sold by different names. One is dinosaur kale because it's kind of a crinkly. It's also called blue kale. It's kind of a blue-green color. It will outperform collards. It's sweeter than collards. It'll take more cold than collards, and it's pretty. So, collards are fine. Try some of this what they call Tuscan blue or dinosaur kale. It is amazing. You can get it from seed too, but that kind of kale is it's even more nutritious. But anyway, plant a little bit of both. That way it's pretty too.
Okay, let me ask you one question. I'm out of that. I'm out. When is the best time to plant for the fall, to have collards or the kale for the fall?
These plants, they're called crucifers. They're kale, broccoli, cabbage, things like that. They really don't like long, hot days. So you can set out transplants in August. You're going to have to water them or maybe put a little shade over them, a piece of cardboard till they start putting on new leaves. When you buy them in the garden center, they've been grown under shade. So if you put them out in the sun, shade them for a week or two till they put new leaves on that are used to your garden. As long as you keep them mulched, you can get a good head start. But if you August, September, that's about the earliest I set them out.
Okay. Thank you so much. Love your show. Listen to it every Saturday, mostly Saturdays. Thank you very much.
Gene, we appreciate it, Gene. Thank you so much for your call. So let's slide down to Natchez now. Lauren, you still with us?
Good morning.
Lauren. Hi.
Can you hear me? This is Florence.
I sure can. What's up?
Okay. Last Saturday, I went to a Master Gardener tour and got a spiral ginger that had just been dug up probably the day before because it was real loose in the pot, and brought it home. And then, of course, immediately the bottom leaves turned yellow. But with all the rain, the top ones were good. This is one stalk about 2.5 feet tall. Should I cut it back?
That's a good question. And matter of fact, I'm real familiar with spiral ginger, but I don't know that you can cut it back. I don't know. And not only that, but I can't imagine any place to look it up because, most people don't have to deal with it. It's a good question, but what I would do instead, do you have this in the sun or in the shade?
It's in mostly shade, filtered light under a tree.
If you just kind of lightly work up the dirt a little bit and then mulch it like with some bark or some tree leaves and bark, and as long as you don't water it too much, give it a good soaking maybe once a week, maybe a little soaking in between at first, but don't keep it wet.
It's had a good soaking all week.
Say what?
I say it's had a good soaking all week.
Oh yeah. Well, the main thing, other than the rain, try not to overwater. You might want to prop it up rather than cut it back. And then once these rains stop, if you just, make yourself not water it very often, keep it moist, it should recover pretty quick. But you may want to prop it up this first year. Make you a little teepee with some twigs or something like that.
Well, it's still in the little 1 gallon pot, and I'm going to move it to a bigger pot for this first year and then plant it outside.
That was fine. The next time is fine. As a matter of fact, why don't you get you some impatient plants or something like that and put, some flowers like impatiens in with it, and whatever the water it takes to keep the impatiens going will be good for the ginger too. I'd still make a stake for it though. You can straighten out a coat hanger and make a little halo at one end of it and stick it in the ground. That halo can go around the upper stem of the ginger. That'll hold it up.
Right. But my main question is, should I cut it back?
I don't know. Honestly, I wouldn't. I would just stake it up. Try not to overwater it. That's what I would do.
Okay.
But I really can't answer you. I don't know if you can cut gingers back or not. And I've been growing gingers forever.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for the information.
Okay. Good luck. Hope y'all dry out soon. See ya. Whew. Yeah, it's hard to say don't overwater right now. Hey, let's slide up to Oxford, to Lafayette County. Tico, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm with y'all, but I got a tree. I don't know how long it's going to be with us.
Oh
I got this thicket of rootless pine trees. They're big and strong, imposing. They run the neighborhood. But I got this beautiful adult mimosa tree that's growing at like a 45-degree angle to get out from underneath them to the sun.
Yeah.
And I've been enjoying it for years. It's, like right now when it's in bloom, it's just beautiful. It looks like it could be from a distance.
It's a hummingbird magnet. It is a hummingbird magnet what's in bloom.
Yeah. Or belongs on Jackie Gleason's sport coat, something like that. But
exactly.
The thing is, with it growing at this almost horizontal angle out from underneath these trees, these pine trees, it's starting to get stress fractures about 4 feet up from the ground on the top side of it. And it looks like, eventually the weight of it will make it break off. My question is, I want to make like an atlas-like stand, a pole or something to help prop it up.
Yeah.
Is there any point in doing that, or are there any pointers?
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, I visit botanic gardens all over the world, from Europe, England. You go to these really, really old Japanese gardens. They've got ancient trees that are propped up just like that. But what they do is they make the stem part, the part that goes from the ground up to the limb, it needs to be a little bit sturdier than you would normally think about, almost to the point where it can actually be an interesting architectural thing. And instead of just make you like a little saddle, a piece of a T at the top with maybe a piece of rubber tire or something, so that the trunk doesn't rub raw on whatever the stake is. Put something padded between the two, and you can actually make it look like part of like it's supposed to be that way. And you don't have to go up very high on that, So it could be actually part of the way the tree looks.
I guess I should do it on the top side of the stress factors.
Yes, I would. Or so, yeah, I would. There's not much else you can do about this. And by the way, mimosas are, which I love. A lot of people don't like it because it's not from around here and it spreads and all that kind of stuff. I think it's a terrific plant.
I do too.
But it's a good pollinator plant. But also, they're not really long-lived. They have all sorts of trouble, especially, Oxford, before the ice storm, y'all had to travel like everybody else. So I'd be surprised if it didn't already have if it wasn't already starting to get weak, and maybe towards the end of its life anyway. If you need to, you can cut a mimosa back at any point to the ground, 3 feet, head high, wherever you make a cut, it will sprout out with strong new growth right there. You can rejuvenate a mimosa that way by just cutting it way back. So prop it up as best you can. If it looks like it's just not going to make it, go ahead and cut it back, and you'll have several sprouts, and just thin them out to the strongest 1 or 2.
That sounds good, and that's what I've always heard. And Faulkner said, "Kill your darlings," but it just hurts me to think about cutting on this mimosa tree. But I'm going to take your advice on that.
I understand. I was raised, my grandmother had mimosa trees, and she painted the lower trunks white. Now, you probably saw that as a kid. And she had 4 o'clock. We used to plant them all the time. And I heard I'm not sure about this, but somebody said those flowers are not really flowers. They're flamingo larvae. That's where flamingos come from. Those flowers turn into flamingos is what I heard.
Wow. I love it. All right, well, I'm going to fix mine up, and I'll send you a picture.
All righty, man. Appreciate it. Mimosa is one of those trees got a real weak, brittle wood, and it's soft wood too. So I'm afraid propping it up is going to be fun, but sooner or later I have to cut it back. So what we got, Java?
Let's slide over to Memphis and talk about, I believe, Japanese beetles with Robert.
Robert, you got are yours the sort of metallic green Japanese beetles?
Yes, exactly.
Man, oh man, they are rough. They're rough. What are they on? Are they on your roses?
They're on all the roses. They're on all the roses.
Yeah, Japanese beetle is a sort of It doesn't matter. You can live in Wisconsin. They're a problem there. They're real common. They're the adult of grub worms. Those little brown May beetles or June bugs. We have May beetles down on the ground. Anyway, they're almost impossible to control. You have to use either really stout insecticide or something like Liquid 7 sprayed on the bottom of the leaves. The problem with that is these beetles and caterpillars will eat the 7, and it's a stomach poison. They'll keep eating until they die. So you still have chewers out there. So what I'd recommend is get you a bucket of soapy water, go around there and just thump them into the soapy water as best you can. It's not fun. It's not really effective, but it's the only practical solution I can recommend. And this is something that's very common among horticulturists across the whole country. It's not a good solution.
Okay, well, yeah, that's what I'll do. Let me ask you, somebody said that they only last till like the middle of the summer. Is that true?
Yeah. They hatch out the larvae, those grub worms in the ground. I forget when they hatch. It depends on which one. They start hatching in late April for the brown ones, and June or so for the green ones. And then that's pretty much just that one generation a year. Once they're done, they lay more eggs and they're gone. So if you can get through the next month or so, you can actually prune your roses back a little bit. Light summer pruning stimulates some real strong new growth that'll bloom the rest of the summer. So, if you can just wait them out, get the worst of them the best you can, and then make plans to prune your roses sometime sort of the end of this month or first next month, they'll come out fine.
Okay, good. Well, that's why I've been kind of knocking them off and cutting the roses that look like they've already been spent, just cutting them off. So I'll just continue to do that, and I'll use the soapy water trick. Yeah. Well, that sounds good. Thank you, Felder. I appreciate it.
I wish they were good to eat. I wish they were like Pringles and you just pop them in your mouth, but it ain't. It just we're not lucky that way.
I was just hoping there was some kind of critter out there, some kind of bird or something that liked to eat them. Maybe we need a Japanese beetle
lots of stuff, lots of stuff eat them, but they can't eat them. There's too many of them.
Yeah, right. I guess
anyway,
right.
welcome to everybody else's world with roses and Japanese beetles. Woo.
Well, they look like they get in the middle of the roses. That's what they're eating? Are they eating something in there?
I don't remember whether they eat pollen or I think they eat leaves and everything. I think that's just the juicy. They're just going for the good stuff, and they burrow. I mean, they chew right in. It's real. If you like to eat roses, that's the best part of rose to eat.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Sorry.
I appreciate your advice.
Sorry, man. Appreciate it. Oh boy, Java. Sometimes there's just not much I can do.
Yeah, those. I'm gonna have to look up a picture of one of those Japanese beetles. They sound kind of wild. But let's go to.
They're pretty, man. They're pretty. These brown June bugs that come out like in May or something. They're like big those and stuff. They're beautiful metallic green. They're beautiful insects, but they're just hangry.
Well, let's stay on the phones as we come to the end of this hour number 1 of the Gestalt Gardener and talk with Mark in Oxford.
Morning, Mark. What's up?
Morning, Felder. I had a question about my swamp mallow I got, and it blooms beautifully. The ones that grow in the ditch banks, like in the Delta.
Yeah.
And man, the bees love them. Like the bees.
Yeah.
They will just sit inside of them, and when I came by, I was like, "Oh, look at that bee! He's taking a nap." I don't know if bees take naps or not, but
they sort of do.
I mean, they get
in a stupor, especially late in the day. They get especially the native ones that look like little bumblebees. They don't have a nest to go back to. They just hang out wherever they can.
I mean, well, that makes. I didn't know if their nectar was particularly tasty to them or something. I didn't know. I was just.
Yeah, as they say, that nectar, that's some good stuff there.
Local. I got it at the farmer's market. All right.
Yeah.
Good deal. Yeah, that's all I had. I was just wondering.
Let me ask you this. Have you grown these before?
Yeah, this is my second year growing them. I had to get them from, I got them from a native nursery up in New Albany. And,
that's a real good one. I'm drawing a total blank. Campbell's Creek?
I think Camp Creek, yeah.
Yeah, Camp Creek. The reason I'm asking because there's a type of fly. It's called the hibiscus sawfly, You'll never really know. It's a tiny little thing, but it lays eggs on hibiscus, particularly these big soft leaf kinds. And their larvae, they look like little worms, but they're not. They're little fly maggots, but they look just like little white worms. And they will they'll turn a leaf into a skeleton. They eat everything but the vein. Look just like a leaf skeleton, and they're called leaf skeletonizers. If they ever show up on yours, just live with it. There's nothing good that'll control them. They don't really hurt the plant that much. Give them a little bit of fertilizer, help them put on some new leaves, and just call them lace leaf hibiscus, because the hibiscus softfly, it is terrible. Not much you can do about it, but just enjoy them. A little fertilizer.
All right. Sounds good. All right.
Appreciate
Thank y'all.
it, man. Okay. Job, I wish I was making some of this stuff up.
Well, I mean, sometimes the what's there is interesting enough.
Yeah,
the truth is interesting enough.
Hour. Do we have a call right now?
No. We're
Well, I want to throw up a picture. I found this out. I was born 1952, a long time ago. Matter of fact, today's my birthday. Happy birthday to me.
Felder Rushing.
In 1952,
who told you to have a birthday today?
the very first toy that was ever advertised on television, first toy advertised on television was this one. I'm going to put up picture number 4. The year I was born, Mr. Potato Head. First toy advertised on TV.
Really?
Yeah, but back then, Java, I'm talking about old school. You had to get your own potato. It had eyes and ears and arms and mouth and noses and stuff. You could choose whatever you want, but you had to get your own potato, and that wasn't easy if you're poor, like my folks. You know, my dad was a school teacher, and so now they come with a plastic body. You don't have any choice. You can only put one set of eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth, 1 nose, and where's the fun in that? They've taken all the creativity out of the potato head family by making you have predetermined holes for their faces.
I never thought of it that way. They did take away the creativity, because in a potato, you just stick it wherever.
What's the next generation? How are they going to learn to be imaginative if we could tell them where to put the nose?
Everything's predetermined.
When I was a kid, I could have 5 noses on a Mr. Potato Head.
That's wild.
It makes you wonder why my generation grew up to be like this. Anyway, it's been a strange first hour.
Yeah, but we're rocking and rolling. We got hour number 2, and we already have some calls lined up. So Peg and Jim, just hold tight, and we'll come to you at the top of the hour after the break.
Well, next hour, I'm going to talk about something very historic that happened 100 years ago this year. Very historic. And also, I'm going to talk about something unusual about people who are watching the World Cup. The planet's largest sports thing is a World Cup right now. And there's some real interesting horticulture angle. I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing. Me and Java, all the MPB folks. We'll be right back.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org.
Gestalt Gardener. I'm your host, horticulturalist Felder Rushing, and my awesome producer, Java Chapman, who I found out today your children are just aghast that you have to work today on Juneteenth.
Yes, my youngest, she just really, it blew her mind that I had to come to work on Juneteenth, and it was just kind of funny.
I got an email from one of our regular listeners from Utah, Hillary Good Sugar. She used to live in Oxford. She still listens every week. Matter of fact, she sends me information. She feeds me information when I'm either wrong or close to being wrong. Anyway, she's happy Juneteenth. This is a really celebratory weekend. Juneteenth, Father's Day, and the solstice, the summer solstice.
Yeah, it's a lot. The summer, I looked it up because we were unsure, but the summer solstice is happening on Sunday, June 21st.
All righty. Well, also, and I don't celebrate birthdays. I just don't. It's just not, although I will go out and some of my friends took me out on a pub crawl yesterday. I don't know if I could say that in Mississippi. We went to 4 pubs, one after the other. It was great. And I know why they call it a crawl. But the thing is, the beers and ales over here, they're not pressurized. You have to crank them. And they don't have preservatives, so you don't get a headache. Anyway, I did a pub crawl. I'm feeling my age today. But I got a video. I wish I knew how to convert these, Java. But a really avid listener to us from Mobile, George and his wife Bridget, he calls himself Germany George because he's from Germany, and he plays the accordion, and he recorded a tune, a happy birthday tune with really jaunty, German type of festive stuff. And I appreciate it. George, I got it. I just don't know how to download it. So appreciate it. The Java, you got to teach me how to do. Maybe we can learn how to do movies sometime on this thing. A little short videos.
Yeah, we're going. If you use the Talk to Us feature inside the MPB Public Media app, you can send videos and pictures and other things like that. But I'm gonna see if I can get this song for you. But we do have some callers to get to, Felder.
Okay, and I do want to share some really interesting stuff about the World Cup. It's the largest sports event on Earth. Super Bowl is a United States thing. Largest event on Earth, and it's in the United States this year, in Mexico. And we're going to be. I've got some interesting horticulture stuff to share. But who we got on the line?
Let's go to Mandeville, Louisiana. Peg, thank you, Peg. You were holding through the break. So,
Peg, bless your heart. Thank you.
It's always worth it, Java.
What's up? What's up, lady?
Well, I had called you about my button bush that some tree trimmers just cracked in half, and I said, what should I do? And you said, well, just leave what's left and see what happens. The thing has never been taller. It's over my head now, and this was just last year, and it's got little green balls on, and I'm so excited I'm going to have.
What an unusual plant. The flowers look like golf ball sized COVID germs.
They do.
I used to say Sputnik, but only old folks like me know what Sputnik looked like. They would say COVID germs. Anyway, it is one of the best summer blooming native pollinator plants you can possibly have. Native.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons I liked it. But one had died that was in my yard, and I kept coaxing this one, and then it got broken. And I said, well, that's it, Yeah. But so I appreciate that, I didn't do anything, and that was the right thing. So I appreciate your advice on that. But then I also have a native. But go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I have a native Well, I didn't know what it was when I found this little vine growing, but it's a native clematis.
Oh yeah.
And it I had moved it to an area where I could look at it, and it's in part sun, part shade. It's never done anything. I mean, it's probably been 10 years, and it grows up a certain height, blooms, and then doesn't make, I mean, it has seeds, but it's always just this one little plant. Is there anything I can do to make that thing grow more or make the seeds bloom or whatever? I'm gonna
have to make a gardening guess here. I try to be as horticultural as I can, but a gardening guess, because I don't know horticulturally. I would just, first of all, they would do better if they get a little bit more sunshine. Where they grow, they're native here, but they don't bloom until they get way up in the trees of sunshine. So you might want to think this year to just give it a little fertilizer, just a little bit of fertilizer, maybe some compost, and mulch it with some tree leaves to help it grow as good a root system as it can, and then move it this fall or winter to a sunnier spot where it can grow on something. That would be as a gardener, that's what I would guess. As a horticulturist, I'm worried. So I'm wondering, do you know which native one it is? Because we have several.
No, it looks like a little bell flower, and it's lavender. It has a bell shape.
Yeah,
but that's all I know about it.
And they're not really showy, but I would think if you could move it to a place where it gets like morning sunshine, but not hot midday or mid-afternoon sun, it might actually do a little bit better. But just try to bulk it up this year. Not a lot of fertilizer, just a little bit, and some leaf mulch to help feed the worms that'll improve the root system. And let's see if you can move it, if it'll do a little bit better next year.
Well, does it grow by seed? I mean, every year I get these nice
native plants, that's how they get around, is by seeds. But the problem is some plants require certain pollinators. And that's one of the, Hillary Sugar, who wrote to us, she and I have talked about this numerous times over the year. A lot of our favorite garden plants attract pollinators, but a lot of the native pollinators and native plants require each other. So it could be that you've got a plant that's native to Central or Alabama or further north, and just don't have that pollinator there. That's an ecological guess. But if they flower well, a lot of times they require specific pollinators, and which is one of the advantages of native plants, because they favor native pollinators. It's just a guess.
Well, I'll do that because I listened to your advice to do nothing, and that worked. I'll try this for the other.
It could be said that when they broke your tree, they did I always tell people, if they get plants that are not doing well, if you prune them, it shocks plants. Cutting plants back, it takes stress off the roots, but it shocks plants in putting out stronger new growth. It's called rejuvenation. It could be that breaking is what rejuvenated it. So don't be afraid this winter if it's kind of wonky looking, if it's lopsided. Go ahead, don't be afraid to prune it like you would a rose this coming winter, because it blooms on new growth.
Oh well, I was so excited I just had to call you.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And when it blooms, send us a picture.
Okay. It'll be great. I'll be so excited. I'll be taking pictures left and right. So thank you, Felder.
You bet. Hey, thanks for calling. Bye-bye. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
So what's up, Java?
Let's go to somebody else who was holding on during the break, hour number one. It's Jim from Vicksburg.
Morning, Jim. What's up on the River City?
Yeah, everything's fine, Felder. I had a question about my daylilies. They were blooming great, and the blooms have quit. And now where the blooms used to be, there's little knots or bulbs or something up there. And do I need to cut those off to get it to start blooming again, or what should I do?
Well, some daylilies are rebloomers. Some just going to bloom once. Maybe they'll put a few up, but I don't think the seeds may not affect it. It really depends on the specific daylily, whether it's going to keep reblooming or not. But if you want to cut some of them off, if you leave them, those are seed pods. If you leave them on long enough, they turn brown, and when they break open, you can actually plant the seeds. But it takes forever, unless you're a hybridizer. But if you're not going to save the seeds, I'd go and snip them off just to make the plants look a little bit neater. But snip them. Don't tug those things out, because that'll tear the plant. It could get a little rot down in there. But just snip them back. If you want to leave them, they can turn into seeds. I just don't know if it's going to affect the flowering. It's a good. Matter of fact, I've got a really good horticulture friend who's a daylily hybridizer, and I'll find out more about that next week.
Sounds great. Thank you. Appreciate your help.
All right, appreciate it. Who, Java?
Now we got one more call, and then we'll take our first break for this hour. And I'm going to apologize. Is it Tevi from Meridian? How do you pronounce your name?
David.
Good morning. How are you doing today? Thanks for calling. What's up?
Good morning, y'all. Well, I've got kind of a crazy question, but I wanted to, I was curious. I have a late aunt that died last year, and she was like in her late 80s. So she has this tree in her backyard. We still go by there, and check on her house and stuff. And she always called it a catawba tree.
Oh, yeah. Got big leaves, big leaves.
Yeah, and she would go out there every year, Felder, and pick these worms off. Catawba worms, I guess.
Big worms with a horn on the end.
Yeah, and she would go fishing with them. She loved to go fishing. And the killing part is she would, when, it started getting cooler and she wasn't fishing as much, she would put them in a Ziploc baggie and put them in her deep freeze. And then the next year, she would let it thaw out, and they would come back to life.
Ooh, I don't know about that. I wouldn't argue with her for the world, but that, I can't. I studied entomology. I wouldn't argue with that. Sounds weird, and it might happen. I'm going to have to check that one out, though.
Is that crazy, though? But, I mean, I don't know if they were alive when she would go back and get them, but she would actually put them in her deep freeze, Ziploc bag them up real good, the one she had left, and I would see her out there, and she would be like picking them off leaves and putting them, in a bucket or whatever, and we'd take her fishing, and she'd use those as bait, and they caught a lot of fish. But
matter of fact, there are people, you don't see as many anymore, but there used to be catawba worm farms. There used to be one not far from my extension service office where they grow these trees in rows and they would prune them back to make them compact, and they would actually sell the catawba worm for like a nickel a piece. And that's in the same family, by the way, as the tomato hornworm.
Wow. Well, I don't know, but I've always wondered about it, and I never really asked her about it. But she swore that they would come back to life when she thawed them out. When she took what she had left and thawed them out, they came back to life, and she would fish with those, and they catch fish.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
well, I just did a real quick search. I belong to a couple of groups that we study stuff like this, and they say in general that they're frozen solid, they won't survive. But I'm not going to argue with your sweet old aunt. But I will say this: catawba worms are huge. They're the larvae of a big moth called the catawba moth, and they only lay eggs on catawba trees, related to the tomato hornworm. So, and a great fishing bait. But anyway, what a great anecdote. What a good story. Good way to remember your aunt.
Yes, it is, sir, and I appreciate it. And y'all have a very blessed day.
Okay. Oh, I got a favor to ask you. When you go back over there, I don't know if the catawba worms are out yet. They may be, but if you find some, put some in a Ziploc bag and let me know next spring. I want to find that. I want to find this out. We're going to do some citizen science here. Poor old worms. But I guess being frozen solid better than being put on a hook. I don't know. Anyway,
I will surely do that.
Appreciate
okay,
your call.
Thank you, Felder, and you and Java have a blessed day, hon.
Thank you.
Yeah,
My
thank
day is
you.
a whole lot better now. Java, this stuff makes my day.
Now, it's funny because even in the YouTube chat, Jennifer asks, I wonder if you can thaw them out and put them back into the tree.
No, these are caterpillars. You know, I'm going to say I am wide open for learning something new. But in general, I just did some real quick research. In general, caterpillars that freeze solid can't survive. They can overwinter as pupa, like cocoons, and maybe as eggs, but I'm just not sure. I'm just not going to argue with anybody who remembers so vividly something like that. I just want to find out.
But they're not.
Anybody got catawba worms out there? Freeze some and let us know. And let's say 2 months if you come back. That should be enough.
Well, you know what does freeze those iguanas down in Florida, and then they fall out of the trees.
Yeah, they fall with a big old thump.
Oh yeah, Felder, let's go ahead and take our first break for the hour. Then we'll come back and maybe you tell us about the World Cup.
Okay, do that. And if, folks, if you want to give us a call, it's toll free. It's 1-877-MPB-RING. And I hope it's obvious to y'all that I am not a know-it-all. I am skeptical. And I'm skeptical of my skepticism. So if anybody can freeze some catawba worms and bring them back, I want to know about it. Anyway, me and Java and all the other folks at MPB, we appreciate you joining us. I got some interesting stuff to share, but I'm here for your phone calls. So give us a call. We're going to take a real quick break and come back with more of the Gestalt Gardener here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Hatred destroys the one who hates. The others that you have hated go on about their business. Care of us.
So the legacy of Medgar Evers is an understanding of our own humanity and of our own responsibility of seeing that in other people.
He is written out of history. He's just not included as Malcolm and Martin. To me, it's the 3 M's, and Medgar's right up there at the lead.
Everlasting, Life and Legacy of Medgar Evers. Watch now on MPB Passport. Visit mpbonline.org for more.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Felder, you there, man?
Man.
We on the air.
Do what?
We on the air.
Oh, okay. I was reading some stuff.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to catch you off guard.
I'm just trying to learn about catawba worms, and let's see if we get John C to put up picture number 14, I believe 14, and I want to talk just a bit about something that really a lot of people may not care about, but it's interesting to me. Put that picture up. This is a golf course, just plain old golf course. But most people realize that golf courses have different kind of grass. They got the kind for the putting green, they got the kind for a fairway, and the kind for the rough, and each one is grown a little bit differently, mowed at different heights and different fertilizer, aerated, and all that kind of stuff. And it got me curious. And then a fellow sent me an email with a link to an article about the sod, the grass that they use for the World Cup, the 2026 World Cup, the world's biggest sporting event, Job. I mean, it's huge. I don't know if you've been watching it, but it's a big deal over here in England. But it's on for almost 2 months. For 39 days, they got 48 teams playing 104 matches with cleated feet, 16 stadiums, 5 of them covered with domes, 8 with permanent artificial turf across 3 countries. Okay, and that doesn't sound much until you look at it from a grass point of view. Now, the FIFA, the international ruling body, they said every World Cup match got to be played on natural living turf, not synthetic turf.
Oh, wow.
And it's got to, and it's got to have the playing experience, the balance, the movement of the ball, the player, how it feels, got to be consistent from place to place, and it's got to be green. You can't have blue. Anyway, the reason I wanted to mention that because I'm going to have to read this because it's more than I can remember. But Dr. John Sokaran, he's at University of Tennessee, okay, just north of Mississippi. He helped develop a model for finding what grasses will do best under all these conditions. This is university research. They invented a portable device with a 3D printed foot with a soccer cleat on it, with soccer shoes, a fake soccer foot, okay? And it strikes the turf with the same impact, acceleration, and cutting motion of a 168-pound athlete, and then measures how much energy the turf absorbs and returns to the. In other words, they put fake feet on it to see how quick they can tear it up. Now, that sounds crazy, but it said other machines just do a vertical drop, like they drop like a bowling ball on it, but they mimicked a consistent strike of a foot. Compare all these kind of grasses. They launch soccer balls at 55 kilometers an hour, or whatever that is. High-speed camera. Anyway, they did all this kind of stuff. And the bottom line is, Java, they can't grow the same grass in Miami and Monterrey, Mexico, as they can in Seattle or Boston or Philadelphia. They have to use different grasses. So they found out that they could use Bermuda grass, including in the indoor domes. In northern stadiums, they would use bluegrass and ryegrass. But here's the deal. They came up with a new technique. It's usually when you've seen them sell sod, you can buy grass sod. It's rolled up or it's flat little pieces, got little roots on it. But what they have to do for the World Cup, they grow this stuff on a thin layer of sand on top of a plastic sheet, and the roots grow down and sideways, intertwining into a real dense, hardy mat. They roll it up, slice it, and all, and then they roll it out over several inches of sand on top of a layer of gravel with a drainage system so they can pump water in or out. And at night, they bring in 2-ton LED grow lights for 12 hours a day with industrial fans to make the grass think it's growing outdoors.
This is a
lot. This is a lot of horticulture stuff. And they're doing it in University of Tennessee.
And they're doing it all across because it's in North America. So Canada, Mexico, U.S. are hosting the games. And that is fascinating.
Well, they're growing this stuff in special sod without cutting the roots and rolling it up and then just roll it back out. They have a machine that rolls it and stitches it together so it doesn't unroll when the soccer players. I keep saying soccer. If you're listening in Mississippi, it's soccer. Everywhere else in the world, it's football. Okay, and why is it called football? Because you kick the ball with your foot. Okay,
simple.
You don't throw it, you don't pass it, you don't. Anyway, football. It is a huge deal, and America's playing this first game tonight. I think starting around this afternoon about 3:00, I think.
Okay. Well, yeah, I know the ladies have always they've done a good job in the World Cup, the USA ladies. So we'll see what the men have in store this year.
Well, we didn't have soccer. They might have when you were a kid. We didn't have soccer when I was a kid. I was small. I was wiry. I could possibly have played soccer, but I couldn't play football. Wasn't big enough. Anyway, I probably could have done that. It's a good sport. It's a really good sport, and you have to pay attention. And I'll wrap this up by saying some of my pub buddies in Mississippi say it's boring. How can you have a game and you win 1-0? And I'm thinking they're insinuating it's a sissy game. Well, these guys are running backwards for 90 minutes doing calculations in their heads and all the defense stuff. And as far as how can you win a game 1-0 and feel good about it, if you ever watch an ice hockey game, same thing. Those are big old guys, and they just trying to get a little thing and a net at the end, and they can win 1-0 too. And I don't think anybody's going to call ice hockey players sissies.
Yeah, now we got a couple callers to get to, but yeah, the thing that makes soccer or football so exciting is that all of the games hang in the balance with just those 1-0 games, those 1-2 games, those 2-1 games. Like, it's a serious thing when that ball goes into that net.
If you pay attention to the game, the movements, the defensive, it's just as interesting as any other game I've ever seen. Anyway, let's get back. I just want to throw that about the turf, because they're growing turf for all over North America with the special new techniques that were developed at University of Tennessee.
Now let's go to Oxford and talk to Brianna, who wants to join us on the phone.
Morning, Brianna. How are you?
Is that me?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Diana.
Oh,
Diana.
No,
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
What's up, Diana?
That's okay. My husband, we have a cassava tree in our yard, and my husband would pick up the worms. We put them in a plastic bag, put them in meal. We put cornmeal in there, and zip them up, put them in the freezer, and they did definitely come back to life when you took them out in the kitchen.
Wow. This is interesting to me, because I'm thinking what I know about entomology, it's not possible, but we got two people who say this is what it does for us. You leave them in over winter?
He leaves them however long, but yes, we pick them up and they absolutely, they come back to life when we take them out of the freezer. Sometimes they're in there a month, sometimes they're in there a year. I mean, they are in there indefinitely. And yes, we use them, and they do absolutely come back to life.
Okay, Java. Only the people on live stream can see this, but you ready for this?
I'm looking.
Nobody's ever done, Mississippi Public Broadcasting has never done this before. You ready?
I'm looking.
I'm eating my hat.
That was just our story. It did happen to us.
I need to wash that hat now with a little cucumber.
My husband's gone, but I'm telling you, we did it every year.
Well, thank you for that. This is think. I love it. Every week I learn something new. But this got to be the weirdest thing of the week, of the year.
They are some big, ugly worms. I'm telling you, I don't like them, but it's okay.
They're just trying to make it. They're just trying to make a living. But anyway, I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, appreciate you, Diana. From Oxford, the catalpa worms. They are taking over. They're taking over the show, man.
That's okay. We got two people who say you can put them in a bag. She said in some cornmeal, and you thaw them out the next year, and they're still alive. That's wild to me.
Well, let's go to Picayune. I don't think V wants to talk about catalpa worms, but let's see. V, good morning.
What's up? Good morning.
Good morning. And worms that come back to life, oh my God.
They do for
I watch you on Roku and I subscribe, and my question has nothing to do with worms.
Okay. Good. What you got?
I have an uneven space in my backyard. It's like a dip.
Yeah.
And it fills up with water. Is there a plant that I can put there that likes wet feet?
Oh, yes, there is. As a matter of fact, my friend Bob Bruzak, he retired from Mississippi State, a landscape architecture professor. He was the director of Crosby Arboretum down there, and they grow plants around the edges of the arboretum that really do well when they can stay wet for a long time and then completely dry. What I call ditch plants, the kind that grow in ditches, and when the ditches dry out, they don't die. And we got some really good ones. But what you might want to do, because they may not look neat, is create like a garden effect. Take that area and lay some logs around the edge of it, but make it a special place and call it a rain garden. that stays wet part of the year, dries out part of the year. But if you'll put, just some tree branches or anything to make it look like a dry pond, then there's probably 24 plants you can get at garden centers to do well. Some kind of our native Yopon holly grows all along the roadsides out there. Yopon holly will take that. Little Jim magnolia will, but also we have some terrific native wildflower perennials that are garden quality. Louisiana iris will do well there. There's a plant called Stokes aster. It grows perfectly well in those kind of conditions. And there's a good handful of them. I can give you a list, but if you'll look up Mississippi State and rain gardens, you'll find an article that Bob Bruzak wrote about this and some of the great plants to do with. Also, you can drive around between towns and look down in the ditches. What's growing in those ditches that looks good? It stays wet in the winter, dries out in the summer, and you might be able to go out there with permission, of course, and dig a few of them up. But most of the time, they're considered kind of weedy in some places. But there's a bunch. There's a fall blooming one called I just draw a total blank. It's got red flower, not bishop's cardinal flower. Cardinal flower blooms in the fall, grows in low ditches that dry out. But create what's called a rain garden. Maybe put some flagstone around one end and a log the other, just to make it look like a special area, and then grow plants around it, and you'll have a nice little rain garden.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate it. And if you get a chance, go to Crosby Arboretum, and they'll probably have a brochure on that. But I know that they have a list of plants at the Mississippi State website, msucares.com. Just click in rain garden, and they have a list of some plants, but some of them are weird plants. You're not going to be able to find them anywhere. They would sell them, though, plants like that at Crosby Arboretum right in your neck of the woods.
Okay, thank you. Very informative.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for calling, V. We appreciate you adding to the show this morning. Felder, I think we're at our midpoint for this hour, and you sent a very peculiar cheesy tune, man.
Yeah, well, let me set it up with some pictures real quick. If we put up picture number 10, we can go real quick, these three pictures. This is a close-up of one of my bottle trees, Java. It doesn't look like much, but it's got a Coca-Cola bottle. It's got a Southern Pecan bottle. It's got a Milk Magnesia bottle. And it's got a Barks root beer bottle. What do they all have in common?
They're bottles.
Bottled in Mississippi.
There you go.
This is a native Mississippi bottle tree. And the reason I want to show that, because one of our listeners sent me an email, put up picture number 12 of a place that I visited 3 different times. Now, this is bizarre, and it's leading up to our tune. This is a bottle tree forest, okay? And this is only about a fifth of the bottle trees. It's just a huge, so many bottle trees you have to turn sideways to get through them.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah. This is done by a guy named Elmer Long. I met him, got a picture of me and him somewhere. But he has the biggest bottle tree forest on earth, and it's outside a little town called Victorville, California. And I found it by driving down old Route 66. You remember Route 66?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this year is Route 66 100th anniversary. It officially opened exactly 100 years ago this year. And with that in mind, I wanted to play kind of a weird version of Route 66. There's a whole bunch of people who cover it. Nat King Cole, all these folks cover it. But this is the weirdest I've ever seen. And I want to hear this on your program during the week.
Well, we'll see about that, man. We got about 10 seconds. Take us home.
Okay, we're going to be back on Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, me and Java Chapman. We're going to go down Route 66 and come right back and join you with your phone calls right after this.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. I caught you by surprise on that tune, didn't I, Java?
You did. You took me back to the early 2000s with the Cheetah Girls. If you are Disney, if you know about the Cheetah Girls from the Disney Channel.
Yeah, and because of copyright stuff, like we can't rebroadcast them. But if you're interested, folks, and you know about Route 66, just go online and do the Cheetah Girls and Route 66. If that doesn't make you smile, I don't know what will. It's an earworm. So have we got any callers?
Well, we got some being lined up now, but I do want to hop over to the YouTube chat real quick and say good morning to, let's see, it was Jennifer, Rita checking in from Olive Branch, Pamela, as always, is in the chat, and we have one note from Nancy. I know you were talking about the cucumbers, the English cucumbers, and Nancy says she grows Lebanese Persian cucumbers in Neshoba County.
Well, I'm gonna have to find out about those. There's over 100 different kinds of cucumbers, but we grow pickling and slicing, and I'd like to find out more people grow the English one. So, hey, last week, while they're bringing calls up, last week I mentioned something, and right at the end about the wedding of the flowers, the parlor game. You remember me talking about that?
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that.
I'm just going to read this real quick. It's only like 4 paragraphs, but this was a parlor game that was over 100, 150 years ago. They would get together for they didn't have radio, they couldn't watch TV, so they came up with games. And this was a story that had blanks in it. You're supposed to fill in all the blanks with the names of flowers. I'm just going to read it with the names of flowers I put in. You ready for this?
Go for it.
Black-eyed Susan married Sweet William after he asked her.
Wait a minute.
His rival had been Ragged Robin, but the groom's 2 lips sealed the engagement under towering sunflowers. The 4 o'clock wedding was announced by bells of Ireland and bluebells. The bride was given away by Poppy, and the groom's mother whispered, "Forget me not." And the official was Jack in the Pulpit. The groom was given up bachelor buttons, so he bought rings made of goldenrod. He wore his Joseph's coat with a princess feather and his Turk's cap. The bride's paper white gown was trimmed with Queen Anne's lace with cowslips underneath. Bridesmaids were Lily, Iris, Daisy, and Rose. Their dresses were lilac and pink, and they wore foxgloves. The groomsmen were jonquil, dandelion, and chrysanthemum. Okay, now about to wrap this up, Java. There was a big crowd at the wedding, flocks. But 7 sisters and old maids were left behind. A brief scene was created when Johnny Jump Up objected to the wedding, but Bleeding Heart and Weeping Willow held their peace. They ate their wedding cake from buttercups, had lady slippers tied behind the carriage. The new home will be on Cape Jasmine, where they'll spend the rest of their everlasting lives in sweet peace under the Star of Bethlehem. I hope their wedding doesn't end up as Touch Me Not.
Now that was good. That was good.
I tell you what, I'm going to post this someplace. I don't know where, but it's just too good. And I do it on Mississippi Gardening Facebook. And folks, if you're not a member of Mississippi Gardening Facebook, I know this is old folk stuff, but Facebook, this site is safe. I'm the administrator. We keep it clean. We keep it to gardening. But it's Mississippi Gardening on Facebook. So anyway, check this out, the Wedding of the Flowers. Java, where does this stuff come from?
We may have to play that game one day. Just put it out there and have the callers add a flower name, and see what we come up with at the end of the show.
There you go.
But let's go back.
Speaking of which,
yeah, let's go to Neshoba County and talk with Bill.
Morning, Bill. What's going on?
I have a question that's happening at different places in my garden. I have comfrey planted around the garden. I use it a lot. I use it for cut and come again. I make my own fertilizer. And I have a couple places, like I have a row at the top of this kind of hill. And there's about 10 plants, or there's supposed to be 10 plants. But I got 3, and then there's a space, and then there's another one, and a space, and then the rest of them. And then other places in the garden, I have them planted around a fruit tree, and they're growing like crazy. And then 5-10 feet away, they either don't grow or they are real puny looking. And is there any reason why that's happening?
Well, based on my experience, and keep in mind that I garden in 2 places. I garden half the year in Mississippi, hardcore. I garden in England half the year, and I visit gardens all over both places all the time. Comfrey is easy to grow in England. It's a cool, mild climate, never gets really, really hot, never gets really wet or really dry. The comfrey that I grow is at the Agriculture Museum in Jackson, at the herb garden behind the doctor's office, and it suffers. And I suspect that comfrey is like a lot of these other cool climates, because it's native to cooler climates, that it suffers when it stays really, really wet. It gets a root damage, maybe not enough to kill it, but to weaken it. And if we have a dry spell and then a heavy rain, it can overwhelm them. So a lot of times we see those plants that have kind of a furry leaf. Comfrey's got kind of a slightly furry leaf. A lot of times they have a hard time with too wet, followed by hot and dry and humid. So I'm suspecting that I grow mine in a raised bed, not too raised, just raised enough to where it doesn't stay wet when it rains, but it dries out. But you don't have to water too much in the summer. I suspect that the ones that aren't doing, the roots are either staying a little too wet or a little too dry, or the soil is heavier clay or something like that, and just weakens them. And then that little 1-2 punch can push them over the edge. So comfrey it should be easy to grow, but for some reason it peters, sort of like sage. A lot of people grow sage that they cook with. Sage is easy to grow for some people. Other people, it just rots when we have a heavy rain. So I'm thinking it might be one of those kind of things. Just guessing here.
Okay.
So you might try planting some around your others, slightly raised, not too high where it has to be watered, but where it doesn't stay wet after all these rains, and see if we can get through. I think summertime is the hardest part, when we have heavy rains and then hot, humid days.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So maybe wait until fall to transplant.
Yeah, or go ahead and get you some new ones started. They're fairly easy from seed, but anyway, so I'm guessing it's going to be a combination and not a disease so much as a combination of environmental things that weaken them, make them more susceptible to one other little thing that normally wouldn't bother them. That's what I'm thinking. Because that happens to a lot of English type plants in Mississippi gardens and Mississippi plants in English gardens. They stay too wet here and it doesn't get hot enough for them and they just peter out. So I'm thinking it's going to be an environmental thing.
Okay. Alrighty.
Okay, I'll do a little bit more research. If you tune in next week, I'll have a little bit more to say because I've got some good friends who grow comfrey in both places. I'll see if they have any particular issues. But anyway, let's just see what happens.
Well, we appreciate you calling today, Bill. Bill always calls in and lets us know what's happening with his.
I got some research to do, man.
with his garden and with his yard. Now let's go to Union Parish and talk with Jay.
Morning, Jay. What's in Union Parish? What part of Louisiana?
That's North Louisiana. I'm about 45-minute drive east of Haynesville, home of the Butterfly Festival.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're almost Arkansas.
I am. If the wind's blowing the right direction, you can see it and just about hit the state line.
There you go. What can I help you with?
Well, my gardening partner, my 19-month-old granddaughter Mary Mack, and I have a common sense solution to fire ants. We think it's not a solution, but it's living with them. I think I found a purpose, but I want you to see if my thinking's clear on this. I've got a couple of spots around my house that are compacted because of construction when the house was built and other things since then. And once in a while, I find fire ants in those areas, and aren't they tumbling down and helping to re-aerate that ground if I just leave them alone for a while?
Well, they'll aerate right around their mound. They'll do that, but they don't spread through a whole area like earthworms did. They're going to aerate within a foot or foot and a half or 2 feet of their mound. All that dirt that they bring up, they bring it from little tunnels. Yeah. But they don't spread out more than a foot and a half or 2 feet or so from the mound.
Well, we might well go ahead and bait them there, but not going to do any more good than that. So. But I need
one of the things you can try this up close to the house. How old is she again?
19 months.
Okay. Well, you got another 2 or 3 years before she's going to really start appreciating what she call you. What's she going to call you? Papaw, Pawpaw? What's she going to call you?
No, this sounds odd, but my daughter wants to call me by my professional title, Judge. So she's going to call me Judge, I think.
Okay, my granddaughter calls me Felder because it's easy to say. But anyway, if you'll pile regular tree leaves up there in the fall, that'll help improve the earthworms. But the fire ants don't really like to build up in mulch and all. They build up to get above the heavy ground around it. So anyway, try doing that.
I will do it. It'll be done. Thank you so much, Aaron. Enjoy it as always.
I appreciate it. Hug that little girl, man. She can grow so fast it's going to break your heart.
It's amazing. Her mama did. I can tell you. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. If you get a chance, shoot me an email. I worked with children's garden, youth gardeners for many years, from California to Florida. I worked with Disney on this. And I've got a little brochure I put together. It's a free brochure. I email it. That's got some really fun little things for kids to do from their point of view that are easy to do. They don't need a whole bunch of stuff, easy homemade scarecrows from their own clothes and stuff like that. But it's got some real fun stuff that kids of different age levels find interesting in the garden. So shoot me an email. I'll send it right back to you. It's a free little thing.
I will do that. Thank you so much, here as always.
Okay. Appreciate your call. Java, do we get any more calls?
Yeah, but we also have a nice email that just came through, and want to see if you can give it a go. It's from Jackie, and it says, Felder and Java, I see all the magnolia trees have way more blooms this year than I can ever remember. Did the ice storm or really cold weather have anything to do with this?
That is a really good question. A lot of plants have what's called biennial bearing. They'll flower or fruit really heavy one year and then nothing the next year. And it's a hormonal thing. And when plants are stimulated, when they're beat up by wind or broken out by, bent with ice and stuff, that stimulates a release of a hormone called traumatin that will kick them into flowering. We see this in along the Gulf Coast after a hurricane. Spring blooming stuff will bloom in the fall because it get all roughed up by the hurricane. So it could be something of that. By the way, before we go to this next caller, while we're going to the next caller, see if we can put up picture number 13. That's my last one of today. And who we got on the line?
We have Sandra from Florence on the line.
Morning, Sandra. Starting to run out of time, but what can I help you with?
Hey, I just wanted to tell you about my avocados. 2 avocados coming up in my compost pile.
Uh-huh.
Are they going to do anything here in central Mississippi?
Well, you have to keep them in pots, big pots, and drag them in when it freezes. You know, they'll freeze even down on the coast. But if you'll put them in a pot and prune them back, and then bring them in during cold weather, they make pretty little ornamental plants, and they may make some avocados. Not that likely, but they might. But they'll freeze outside.
Okay. Well, I won't worry about them then, because I don't care about bringing them in the winter. But
okay,
also,
your guacamole bush is going to freeze if you leave it out.
There's something else I was going to ask you, but I can't think of it now. So.
Well, give me a call back. We got 2 hours next Friday.
Yeah. I'll have to do that.
I appreciate your call. Thank you so much.
I love to hear you. Thank you.
You bet. And Java, this last picture I put up is of a picture I took on the solstice at Stonehenge. When the sun comes up in the morning and goes down in the evening, it's perfectly lined up for the solstice. The reason for that season, I just want to say happy solstice. Go out and do whatever you feel like to celebrate it. Father's Day, Juneteenth, we've got a lot of stuff to celebrate, but also let's keep our fingers crossed for the American football team at the soccer match tonight.
Every time I see that picture, Felder, I always think about the builders of Stonehenge. They really kind of knew what they were doing.
Well, they took their time to do it, but they did over long. It's a creepy little place. It's not that big, but I've been there several times. But to catch it at the solstice, right down at the end of those trithelions or whatever they're called, it was just amazing. The people there were pretty weird, not me, but everybody else. But anyway, solstice. Thousands of years of wondering what the heck is going on. But we're about to be past the longest day of the year. It's going to start free falling towards cooler weather next week.
And I know you don't celebrate too much, but happy birthday and happy Father's Day.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. I'm going to have me a nice little curry and watch an American soccer game tonight. And that's what old guys do on their birthday. They have a nice meal, they watch a game, they go to sleep early. Anyway, I'm going to Big Flower Show tomorrow. I'll report on next week. But if you get a chance, folks, take a kid to a garden center, get them a pot full of dirt, fill it with some herbs and flowers, and show them how to do what we do best. And let's get dirty. Thank you all for joining us here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. See y'all next week.